So this is a quick demonstration of the Inlocoparentis Guardianship software. The software is designed as a one-stop shop for guardian agencies. It is designed not only to support the administration of running a guardian agency, but also the support pastoral side of the activities as well. So the software runs in a browser, and here it's running in Chrome, but it also runs in Edge and Safari. It won't run in the older software like Internet Explorer, but it does run on an app. Both we have an iOS app and an Android app. The software was written from the ground up. It's a CRM, but it's not using any specific CRM underneath. It was written specifically for guardian agencies. Hidden behind the software are a number of databases that link together. So at the moment we're looking at the student database, and the software is real time. So if I had someone on another system who was editing this software, if I asked my colleague to edit, say for example, the forename, you can see the record has been locked, and the forename here, I'm not touching anything. If the forename gets updated, it will get updated and refresh on my system automatically. So the data is real time and available on a browser. So here, for example, we have the students' information. This is various standard information about the students. We have contact information. We have data on their documents. We store information about their passports, their BRPs, their visas. If you click on any of these, you can download or view any of their files. The system is semi-intelligent, so here, for example, it sees that the software sees that the passport expires on the 10th of September 2022, and there is an alert set. This is a sort of automated system behind the software which will remind you of various activities that are coming up, including things like passports running out of date, insurance running out of date, household smoke alarms, flight information, and all that sort of stuff. So the system is intelligent and will prompt you with messages about activities that have happened. So for example, here we can see there was an automated message that there was a flight that somebody was on that was delayed by 49 minutes, and that message would have come up and prompted us. And if we had the mobile phone app, it would have prompted us there as well that there was some problem. Here somebody updated the household biography. Going back to students, we have what we call the student team. These are the important people in the student's life. Not only can the administrators log on, but the students can log on, the homestays can log on, the parents can log on, the agents can log on, the schools can log on, and even taxi companies can log on. And as people log on, they see different aspects of the software. So here, for example, I have access to a lot of information, whereas if I view here by pressing this I button, if I view as the student, then I have far less information about what the system. So I really only see my information, my school upcoming information, and my schedule of events. So I can see taxi journeys that are coming up for me. I can see flights that are coming up, and so forth. So there are lots of logons, and you can control very carefully who can see what when they log onto the system. There is a very fine-grained permission system behind the whole system, which allows you to control who can do what. Within the system administrators, for example, here, for example, I can set up exactly which pages I can view, edit, add, delete, and so forth, and control that centrally. Again, in the students, we have the student team, and this allows me to set exactly what these people can do. So John Radford, for example, I haven't got his driving license information, so he's unable to provide a lift. But Pippa Radford, his wife, I can provide a lift, and obviously can provide accommodation. She's also going to be able to claim expenses. The school information that we hold on each pupil includes information about the year name that they're in. So the year, this boy is in year 12. He's at rugby school in a house called Kilbracken. If I click here, it will take me automatically to the school's information. So here I'll jump to Rugby School, and I can see the record that we have on Rugby School. We've got about 650 schools on the system at the moment. We do not pass information about school staff because that is protected under GDPR, but we do provide general bare bones information about the school, and where we know it, we will provide information about the school's year names. We support various naming conventions in the UK. We also have information about boarding houses where we know that information, and within boarding houses, not only basic contact information and staffing information, but also the location of those houses, which is important when you come to collecting students from different houses. This particular school is spread across a large site. Back to the school data, we have some information about school placement. If you have met and visited and set up an agreement with a school, you can store that information here. You can also store notes if you've been on seminars at school, or there are circulars or reports or any other kind of information. You can set a lot of the configuration about what you're going to store. There is a massive configuration section where you can decide exactly what you're going to store for the various parts. Looking again at schools, we have term information. For terms, we store information about different term starts. So, for example, back in the summer last year, we had quarantine starts, we had regular starts. You can have different term ends, sometimes the sixth form ends on a different day. You can set information about term breaks, so half terms and exeat weekends. And normally, you would be setting information about school concerts, parents' evenings, and specific sporting events. And you can assign each of those to the student, and their parents can see what's coming up, and indeed the student can see what's coming up as well. Staff information on schools we store. We understand that various staff are associated with various houses. They have maybe one or more job titles, and that data is here as well. If we look again at the households, we store data about households, so these were your homestays. We store information about the entire family, including the dates and ages of their children. And if we click on the magnifying glass for a child, we would be able to see that this particular child has reached the age of 18, and therefore we need a disclosure information on that child. So we have full information about the household, and again, the system is intelligent. You can even ask it to set a record, a reminder, when a child reaches a certain age, normally 16, where you would want to start taking out disclosure information. Again, more information here about visits, carbon monoxide alarms, and so forth. Down the bottom here, we have information about the rooms. You can have multiple rooms. It's very clear to see who's arriving and when they're arriving, so and what the length of stay is, and the host family will see a similar view. The host family can also add periods of unavailability if a room becomes unavailable because their child comes back or they can't use it for whatever reason. That information is stored there as well. There is a full finance system within the software which links at the back end to Xero and QuickBooks. We store a current running balance for each child, and that data goes automatically to QuickBooks as it's produced. Information can be typed in multiple languages if that's helpful, and if you drill down into this information, there is data behind here. So not only can you see what the finance information is, so here, for example, there was a stay overnight for 2 nights. This is the amount that we're charging the parent, and this is the amount that we're refunding the homestay. And hidden behind there, you can actually see the data on the actual details of the transport. On the transport side, we have a full timeline system. So this is the upcoming itinerary. We can see exactly what this child is doing. We can see a schematic view of what's going on, and we can drill into these. The system is linked to the UK flight system, so it tracks flights in the UK and out of the UK, and all this data is picked up automatically, including the scheduled status. So if a flight is delayed, the system will pick it up and then pass information on as necessary. Information such as unaccompanied minors files and e-tickets and travel consent and so forth can be uploaded by the parents, and the parents can actually, there is an automation system which ping-pongs information back to the parents about requesting information about what a child is doing at half term, what a child's arrangements are at the end of term. So that's a pretty comprehensive timeline system, and again, as I said, it links the back end to the finance system. So if you type in data here, you can pre-populate the claims, the expense claims on behalf of the homestays. On top of that, we have what we call organizations. So this would be your agents or other organizations that you interact with. So for example, you might have a tutoring agency in here, and you can use this to track which students came from which agencies, and indeed which personnel are assigned to those students. So that's a very quick way of seeing which agencies are producing you the most leads. And you can have multi-location agencies as well. So you can have different branches within a particular agency or a particular organization. There is a lot of configuration. There are a lot of settings that you can change. I won't go into those in this detail, but if you want information on that, you can look at one of our other videos. We have a very comprehensive enrollment system. So this is when either a student is being enrolled, the student can enroll themselves if they're at university, the parents can enroll them, or indeed the agent can enroll them as well. We have enrollment systems for both students and households. And the data gathered is automatically put into a holding database to be transferred to the main database when the submission is complete. Enrollments are completely configurable. We gather standard information such as age and date of birth and name and so forth, but there is a form that could be configured with exactly the questions that you want to ask. And if you're clever about it with the enrollments, you get the student enrollment asking questions that the household enrollment also has access to. So for example, if you're asking the student, how are they with dogs? Then the options in this particular case are they like them, they don't like them, they're allergic, or they're not bothered. If we ask a similar question of the household, as in do you have dogs, then we can provide what we call a matching system, where you can submit in text, in English, how you want this system to match. So here, for example, with households that have dogs, if the student likes dogs, then that's a good thing. If the student is allergic to dogs, then we won't match with this student, with this household. And if the student doesn't like dogs, then we weight that negatively. And on the map, and again in the mapping system, on the matching system, you can select one of your households, one of your students rather, and see where that student would be best matched with a household. So for example here, these two houses are blocked with that student because they have dogs, and that student is set as allergic to dogs. And we can see that the best household for them is Sally and Roger Hunt, and we can then link those households together. And there are a lot of options and filters and so forth that make that job a lot easier. Taxi companies can log on as well, and if they do, they will see their upcoming job lists. You can also produce reports from almost every aspect of the software. You can get reports on the timelines to send to the taxi companies. You can get reports from the timelines about flight information, and you can get information about schools. You can get information about students. You can set up reports for students that give profiles for students and profiles for households. The profiles for the households are very comprehensive. You can create a template, and the system will generate a PDF automatically. The data is gathered either by you or by the enrollment process or by the household themselves, who can then refresh their own profile. That system is automatically linked to the filing system. A lot of the systems have files. So here, for example, is the household profile for this particular family. And the filing system, within every file, you can share these files automatically with other people. So a household profile could be shared with the parents or even prospective parents. Again, with the enrollment system, you can get the enrollment system to take up references. So references can be supplied, and we store all the information about referees. So not just their name and email, but if we go here, we land in the community, and we see a lot of data, their address, their job title, and so forth, that is stored with the referees. There is a system that allows you to message other users, which is here, and those messages can go backwards and forwards to parents or whoever. You can message parents within the system, and if they have the iOS or Android app, then they'll get a notification, and they can reply on the app and even take photos and add those to their replies. And you can very carefully control who messages who. So you can allow parents to message system administrators. You could also, for example, allow taxi drivers to message students. But within the taxi drivers to students message, you may wish to monitor those messages, and you can blind copy yourself in. And indeed, this particular taxi driver to student interaction, the taxi driver is not seeing their surname or their address or anything else, and sees their picture. And again, on the messages with taxis, you can limit the taxi access to plus or minus a number of hours before and after journeys. So it's very useful for child protection. There are a lot of configuration options here, which I haven't got time to go into in this video, but there are other videos appearing about that. We also supply information on releases that we've had. When we update the software, we produce lists of changes that we add to the software. We add new features, and we declare all our bugs. And there are site policies for accessing the software. And finally, a utilities page, which gives you access to upcoming flights, a student rollover for moving students from one year to another, assigning students terms, looking at updating current for upcoming birthdays, and viewing and authorizing house profiles. If you'd like any other information, please go to our main website, which is inlocoparentis.org, and click on the support tab and fill in your details here. We'd be very happy to give you a proper demonstration highlighting the features that you're interested in, and we can give you access to a sandbox company that you can play with and see what the software does without our interference.